Sadhana vavatu Sadhana bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvina vadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Vatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Gukarastvandhakaro Vai Rukarastanivartakaha Nirodhitvad Gururittyavidhiyate Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya madhyamam Asmadacharya paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Vedo nityamadhiyatam taduditam karmasvanushthiyatam tene shasya vidhiyatam apachitihi kamye matistyajyatam papoghav paridhuyatam bhavasukhe dosho nusandhiyatam atmecha vyavasiyatam nijagrahad turnam vinirgamyatam sangasatsu vidhiyatam bhagavatah bhaktir drudhadhiyatam shantyadif parichiyatam drudataram karmasu santyajyatam sadvidvanupasrupyatam pratidinam tatpaduka sevyatam brahmaikaksharamarthyatam shrutishirah vakyam samakarnyatam vakyarthasya vicharyatam shrutishirah pakshassamashriyatam dustarkat suviramyatam shrutimataha tarkonusandhiyatam ब्रह्मास्मीति विभाव्यतामहरः गर्वः परित्यज्यताम् देहेऽहं मतिरुज्यताम् बुधजनैः वादः परित्यज्यताम्. The first line, 2 lines of this verse number 3 tell us about the attitude that we have towards the teaching of the Shruti or the Upanishad. Vakyarthasya vicharyata. Vakya, Mahavakya. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Vicharyata, may you deliberate upon the statement. While you are deliberating, I am Brahman, you are Brahman. What is Brahman? This is the vision of the Upanishads. What is Brahman? What is limitless? What is divine or consciousness? Meaning that in the core of everything there is divinity. Even whatever outwardly looks as evil, in the core there is goodness or divinity, because Brahman means goodness. Brahman, call him God, Ishvara, means truthfulness, goodness. So that is the truth of everything, that is the core of everything. Then Swamiji, how do you explain all this evil, so much cruelty, so much violence in the universe? How do you explain? If, as you say, goodness is the truth of everything, then how do you explain this? Just the opposite of it? Answer that Vedanta gives: ignorance. Ignorance creates these distortions. And what is goodness alone becomes distorted as evil. What is love alone becomes distorted as anger. Meaning all these evil tendencies that we see, they are not reality of something, they are incidental into something. Yesterday we talked about the essential and the incidental. And for that, this example of a piece of sandalwood is a very beautiful example. How sandalwood by nature is fragrant, but the same sandalwood, if it comes in contact with water for a length of time, then its outer surface becomes rotted and the sandalwood stinks. It may be the experience of some people who are dealing with sandalwood every day, that sometimes it happens that it stinks. So even though sandalwood appears to be stinking, in the core it still remains fragrant. The stink is only superficial, and when you rub that piece of sandalwood against a stone, when the outer surface is worn out or rubbed out, then inherent fragrance becomes manifest. Similarly also, in the universe, start with our own self, that I am like that sandalwood, fragrant in nature. And in me also I find now and then some stink. Sometimes I get angry, sometimes I get jealous, sometimes I become cruel. These things do appear in me. All of these are the products of ignorance. And in spite of these superficial evil tendencies, I remain that fragrant, beautiful being. Just as the superficial stink of the sandalwood does not deny or does not affect the inherent fragrance of sandalwood, so also the superficial tendencies in my mind do not affect in any way the perfection or beauty of my nature. This fact I should see in my own self. That how there are moments when the goodness in me becomes evident, how there are times when I see myself as a loving and kind person also. But Swamiji, this fellow is loving and kind once in 6 months. The rest of the time he is always... So what is the reality? That anger and other things that we see, it seems to predominate. Is it the reality? Or the goodness that seems to manifest once in a while, is that the reality? Vedanta says that even that goodness, even though it may manifest once in a while, is still the reality. Sun is shining in the sky and is covered by the clouds. There are moments when the clouds move and then you have a glimpse of that sun. That is the reality. So this is, Upanishad says, Shruti Shirah Pakshas Samashriyata. Have this approach in thinking or contemplating upon the nature of anything. It is likely that I may be driven by the outer disorder, the outer evil that seems to be evident in the life everywhere, including myself. Shrutishara Paksha Samashriyata. The teacher says that may you take refuge of the Paksha or the point of view of Shruti or Upanishad, that there is goodness everywhere. Let that become the basis of life and not the evil that may be superficial. That can be only when, but how can these two things go together? The two things can go together only when one is Satyam and other is Mithya. One is real and other is incidental, unreal. Like in case of a pot, the names and forms are incidental. The clay is essential nature. So also Brahman or wholeness or goodness is my essential nature and that of everybody and everything. And anything else is a product of ignorance. Ignorance creates in me that identification of the body, and so I take this body to be myself. Then I feel one among millions and I feel naturally very limited, very constricted, very insecure. That insecurity makes me defensive, self-centered, aggressive. And thus all my anger, etc. are manifestations of nothing but my insecurity, which is again a product of a sense of smallness that I feel, but that is due to ignorance. The one who is whole and complete being feels small or limited because of taking the small or limited body as myself. So when we see that fact about ourselves, the thing is to understand ourselves as best as we can. Understand our own mind as best as we can as to how our own mind functions and what our true nature is in spite of the mind being what it is. As much clearer we are about ourselves, we realize that others are no significantly not different from myself. And then I will be able to understand others also. Shrutishara Pakshas Samashriyata. Have trust in what the Shruti says. That goodness is a basis, not evil. And we have a brilliant example of a person who put this into practice. And that was Mahatma Gandhi, who believed in the essential goodness of everybody and relate to that person from that standpoint. And therefore he would not reject anybody, he would not dismiss anybody, he would love everybody for what that person essentially is, not what the person manifests superficially. Meaning that it was his conviction that you can invoke the goodness from anybody because it is there. Sometimes we work very hard because it is so much buried under the superficial evil. That looks like there is nothing good in that, but it is there. And you have to exert more. And his exertion was in terms of inflicting the same penance upon himself. I'm not saying what we should do, but I'm telling you how this has been actually experimented and verified. Meaning what the Upanishad says has been verified by living examples of the saints. Shruti Shirah Pakshas Samashiyatam. Never lose trust in this and always be on the lookout to see this goodness in everybody, in everything. We don't have to superimpose. There are always glimpses in everybody where that goodness becomes glimpses evident. And that is the reality. Oh, Swami is making a show, that is not show. This is show. That anger is a show, but goodness is not show. Now, this is Shruti Shiraha, Upanishad. This is the Paksha or the teaching of Upanishad. Dustarkat suviramyata, may you stay away from distorted reasoning. Because very often the tendency is to justify our own views. If my conclusion is that there is no goodness in the world, everybody is evil, everybody is untruthful, everybody is dishonest, if this is my conclusion because of my experiences in life, it is likely that I have a tendency to prove that and disprove what Upanishad says. And I can always use a distorted reasoning to prove anything. Dustarkat suviramyatam. May refrain from that dustarka or distorted reasoning, false reasoning, with which you are trying to prove false as true and true as false. Stay away from that. Shruti matas tarko nusandhiyatam. Upanishad gives us the reasoning. When Upanishad reveals the fact that everything is Brahman, everything is goodness, it tells us how it is so. Swami, how do you say there is Brahman everywhere? We said yesterday that looking at ourselves, what is the essential aspect of me is that I am. What is undeniable is I am. And that I am, I know that I am, meaning it is self-effulgent, asti, bhati. And one thing about me is that I never hate myself, I always love myself. Priyam, this asti, bhati, priyam, that I am and that I shine and that I always love myself is an undeniable fact about me. At all times, at all places, and all conditions, this is undeniable about me. Everything else changes. How my mind is, how my nature is, how everything else is subject to change. But this is not subject to change. Just as in case of a pot, its name and form is all subject to change, but that it is clay never changes. Or for a golden ornament, that is gold never changes. The forms may change, you can melt it, you can do what you want, but the essential nature is never given up. So that is my essential nature. That's the essential nature of everything, including somebody says, Swamiji, I can understand I am, etc. But how about this table and chair? Same thing. This also is asti. It also shines in my consciousness. Bhati is also dear to me because it is useful to me. Priyam. And therefore, everything asti, bhati, priyam in a name and form. So just as in case of an ornament, that bangle, name and form, is a vehicle for manifestation of gold. Earring is another name and form which is a vehicle for the manifestation of nature which is gold. And so also every name and form, whatever it is just a vehicle for manifestation of asti, bhati, priyam, satchit ananda, satyam, jnanam, anantam, brahma. So that is the essential nature of everything, sentient, insentient, good, bad, indifferent, whatever it is. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. This is what Upanishad says, that what is Ishvara. Now this should become the basis of our life, which is quite opposite to what it is right now. Right now, that you are different, I am different, I have to defend myself, that is the basis of my life. Duality, division is the basis of our life. And that brings constant struggle, constant conflict. Our Swami used to say, nobody loves duality, everybody loves non-duality. I don't love duality between even yourself and myself. When we are together, I love to be together, one with you, and not being excluded. I don't like to be excluded by others. When we are in a group of people, we don't want to be excluded, we want to be included. To be included is what we want, not to be excluded. The inclusion means one and exclusion means division. Although on account of giving reality to this limitation of body, etc., and therefore I take myself to be a limited being, therefore I exclude others and I feel excluded by others. But that is because the division is given the reality. Don't give reality to the apparent division. In apparent multiplicity, there is unity in diversity. Even though the waves are countless, there is one water. And in many ornaments, there is one gold. In all names and forms, there is one thread, Satchit Ananda. This is a beautiful vision that Upanishad provides us. There cannot be anything more beautiful than this, and there cannot be anything that can improve this. Somebody is asked our Swami, so Swami, tomorrow somebody comes up with a better explanation. What will Vedanta do? So I'm telling you, are limitless, improve upon it, come on. You are limitless, improve upon that. You can't improve upon it. So this is a great gift, Upanishads, and the vision, that the insight that they give us is most valuable, to the extent that that insight becomes the base of our life. To that extent we are happy people. If that becomes totally my life, I am the happiest person. I am liberated while living. So this is a knowledge which is imparted to us for making us free or happy, which is what we are seeking to be. So this is how the thinking should go on. Right now my thinking is based on giving reality that the world is different, I am small, I am limited, I am insecure. Giving reality to all this, my life is based right now. And that brings about nothing but conflicts. It is not possible for me to have harmony with anybody or beyond a certain point. The point comes when we then part ways. Up to this point, Swami is okay, but then, because ultimately the division between you and I will play. Even with the closest person also, I cannot be honestly close. Swami Akhananda used to say, nobody ever reveals even to their spouse what is going on inside. Nobody ever reveals. Because they know what the consequences will be. So, all insecurities, all cheating, fraud, I don't know, deception seems to be involved in our life at some level or the other. There cannot be easiness, there cannot be freedom when I am hiding something, when I am distorting something, when I can't be at ease with my own self. So, human being is not at ease with himself or herself. When this is so make this as a basis of our life. So today or tomorrow, if this is a value, then non-duality is the primary value of life. It's a value. Even though my experience is one of duality, what is my value? Non-duality. See, all the values are based on that non-duality. When they teach us ahimsa or non-violence is truly possible only when you are not different from me. Non-violence is possible when I treat you as I treat myself. I am truly non-violent to myself. I never hurt myself. My attitude towards myself is one of pure non-violence. And I can be non-violent to you the extent to which I look upon you as myself. Which is not easy. But the value is to treat others as I treat myself. I try that. That is my value. It will take a long time to become reality, but unless that is a value, it will never become reality. If I am the self of all, then ideally I should treat others as I treat myself. Atmopamena sarvatra samam pashyati yojana sukham vayadiva dukkham sayogi paramamata. Lord Krishna says that just as I always want to make myself happy, that's what I should try to do with others. I never want to make myself unhappy. That's what I should try. It's not going to work out right away. I have to at least try. Means I have value for that. And that will enable me to transform myself. So Shruti Mataha Tarkaha or Shruti Pakshaha is non-duality, oneness, non-exclusion, all inclusion. This is the most inclusive teaching. It doesn't exclude anything. Ishavasyavidam sarvam. Whatever it is all Ishvara. Even apparently an evil-looking evil also is Ishvara in the core. And so he is also included. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavi hastini shuniche vashvapake panditaha samadarshina. Lord Krishna says that the panditaha, the wise people, are samadarshina. They look upon them as equal. Whether he is a learned, pious brahmana, or there is a cow, or an elephant, or a dog, or an untouchable, the whole range of people. They are all different from one another. There is no similarity in them at the superficial level, at the name and form. At the core they are one. So just as when we watch a play or a movie, how we recognize our favorite actor regardless of whatever costume he comes in. So we see here on the stage a villain. But in my mind I subtract that villainness and I see that actor, my favorite actor. So that is called badha, that's called negation. And similarly also this outer thing is negated. So all differences are all in costumes, all in names and forms. In essence, everything is one, beautiful, inclusive. There cannot be a superior vision about life than this. And this should become, as best as we can, become the basis of our life. Anyway, as I said, when you function in the world where there is a lot of hostility, it may not be possible for you to right away put this into practice. But take one step at a time and see how it works. Just one little step. And even though the other person is hostile to you, in your own mind, try to treat him more sympathetically if you can. See how it works. One step at a time. Don't take too much risk. Because then we are insecure, what will happen? One step at a time. And it seems to work. Take second step. And then the second two lines say, Brahmaivasmi bhavyatam. The third step is called nididhyasanam. Meditating upon myself that I am Brahman. Right now, what is my meditation? I always meditate on myself. What is my meditation? I am a Jivatma. I am a limited being. This is constantly going on in my mind, effortlessly. Constantly, right now, what is my, if you want to call it meditation, if you want to call it what is my perception of myself? I am a limited being. Whether I call myself a man or woman, limited. Father or mother, limited. Rich or poor, limited. The limitedness never goes away from my perception of myself. Moment I give myself a name, wealthy, poor, famous, otherwise, everywhere, limitedness is always involved. Meaning that I am limited is the constant undercurrent in all my thinking. And that's what determines how I think, what my values are, what my priorities are, how I behave, what I do, what I desire. Everything is all ultimately governed by this undercurrent. I am a limited, needy, inadequate being. So we are meditating without knowing that constant meditation is going on. Who am I? An inadequate, needy, wanting, lacking being. Always on the lookout as to how to fulfill my agenda, how to use every situation and everything I come in contact with as a means of fulfilling my agenda. Brahmaivasmi bhavyatam. No, I am Brahman. So that is where the change has to happen. At the core of all my thinking is the idea that I am an inadequate being, which is my conclusion or notion due to ignorance. Here the teacher says, no, they replace that. Brahmaivasmi, I am Brahman. I am limited, I am limitless, I am adequate, I am all right. I don't really need anything. At least you can do it during meditation time. If not, otherwise this may be a little too risky to do, when you are living your life in the world. But this we can afford at least when we are by ourselves. In meditation at least there is no risk involved, because then I can have right thinking, no risk involved. Brahmaivasmi. I am not inadequate, helpless creature. My nature is asmi, bhami, priyam, asti, bhati, priyam. That is my nature. Yes, there is inadequacy. Someplace in the body, in the mind, in the intellect, there is inadequacy. There is limited, there is no doubt about that, but it is not where I think it is. The limitation, the inadequacy that belongs in one place is transferred to another place. In psychology they call it transference. In Vedanta they call it superimposition. What is transference is what belongs in one time and place and situation is thought to happen, belong elsewhere. Here also there is limitedness and there is inadequacy. Where? In the body, in the mind, in the intellect, in this costume, no doubt about that. And regardless of what I do, it will remain inadequate, it will remain insignificant. I can stretch as much as I want and lift whatever weight, I'll remain insignificant regardless. That frog in the well keep on trying to float, and it can never become a buffalo. It will remain only, regardless of what you do. Insignificance I can never be free from. There is insignificance someplace where in my costume, beggarliness in costume, he himself happens to be a billionaire. I happen to be by true nature limitless. There is limitedness. So limitless manifesting through a limited costume. There are limitations, they all belong to the costume, to the body, to the sense organs, to the mind, to the intellect. See this fact. Deheham mati ujjatam, fourth line says. Aham mati means this notion of I-ness or identification, dehe in the body. Body means gross body, subtle body, causal body. So ignorance makes me look upon this body as myself. The mind as myself. This is what I am born with, meaning there is no sankalpa or will on my part. This is what I find myself doing. I find myself habitually looking upon this body as myself. What's the reason? No reason. Never thought about it. I never in fact inquired as to whether this conclusion is right or not. That I am a limited being, I have never even given a thought as to whether this opinion about myself, is it a valid opinion? Have I arrived at this opinion by proper thinking, or have I taken it for granted? We have taken things for granted and never subjected them to scrutiny of reasoning. That's what Vedanta wants us to do. So Vedanta addresses each one of our conclusions or complex about ourselves and see where is the it's without any reason, it's identification. Deheham aham mati means identification, looking upon deha, body, which includes mind also, as I. Ujjadam, never may you give up what? The aham mati, the identification of the body or the mind or the intellect, with which I am born. I am born with the habit of identifying. It is that which causes sense of limitedness, not that it is my nature. So again, when we are meditating, we can think of this. Who am I? Oh, I am a woman. I am a man. I am good, bad, rich, well, okay. Where does this conclusion come from? Where is woman? Where is man? That's in the body. I'm smart. Where does it come from? Intelligence? Intellect? Happy, unhappy, sad? Mind? So we will see that all of these attributes belong to either body or the mind or intellect. And without thinking, I just superimpose upon myself and I judge myself based on body. The actor who is a billionaire judges himself based on his costume and says, I am a beggar. And so also I constantly keep on judging myself based on this costume. I am a mortal being, I am going to die, I am dying, I am going to die. Everybody is going to die. But you are going to die is a different thing. To say body is dying is one thing, I am dying is a different thing. All problems come when we connect I with that, otherwise there is no problem. The body is dying, okay. I will not have any problem as long as I know that I am not the body. The tree is dying, I can objectively look at it. I can do what I can do about it if I want to save that tree. But that doesn't make me miserable. That misery comes when it is centered on I. All problems are centered on I. And what we do is we inadvertently connect I with everything and make everything is made a problem. There is no Nobody can explain this thing other than Vedanta. The anatomy of sadness, or anatomy of misery or unhappiness, is Vedanta explains that. And only when we understand where unhappiness comes from, that is when we can solve it. Otherwise, all solutions we apply in our life. But then problem remains intact, because what we are solving is problem that is non-existent. Searching for attachment all the time never solves that problem. There is limitedness, but not where I take it to be. I am aware of a limited body, I am aware of the limited mind, I am aware of the limited intellect. Dehe aham mati ujjatam. This identification which is lumping together by separating called viveka. Atma anatma viveka. The separation of the self from the non-self, which is there. They are separate. Self is separate from non-self. How, in my mind I have lumped them together. Not that even though when the fellow says I am a beggar, it doesn't become a beggar. In his mind that notion is born, and that is subject to removal. If by putting on the costume of beggar, if fellow becomes beggar, nobody will want to take that role. But here our Swami says, by being a beggar, he is in fact becoming richer. So then this costume the role becomes enjoyable when you know it is role, otherwise all the problems of role are all superimposed upon it. The life has become such a big burden. So heavy. Our faces all reflect that. So much heaviness, so much burden, so much stress, anxieties, worries. Because of superimposition, what belongs in one place is superimposed upon the other, upon the self. Dehe aham mati ujjatam. Constantly see this fact that I am different from the body. I am the subject, body is the object. I am the subject, mind is the object. I am subject, intellect is the object. And our daily experiences reveal this fact. If we look at our day and the stage that we are passing through, now we are awake, then you go to sleep, then we dream also, and we go to fast, dreamless sleep. So when I am dreaming, understand that I have no relation with this body. In the dream, a new dream body is created. This body is let us set aside here. With the dream body I go to Rishikesh. This one remains here. If this was I, it would always come with me. Is it not so? It doesn't come with me. This King Janaka experience that he had a very a very sumptuous meal, and then he went to sleep and he started dreaming. There was hungry for 3 days and looking for food everywhere, could not find food anywhere. All food is there in his stomach. And how does he feel? I am hungry. The stupid food in the stomach becomes of no use to a dreamer. And even that dream body also, when I am fast asleep, doesn't come to me. So when I am not aware of the body, as in sleep, not aware of the mind, do I cease to exist? Do I continue to exist, or do I cease to exist in deep sleep state? Am I there or not there? If I am not there, how can I wake up? The fact that I wake up means I must have been there even when I was sleeping. Is it not so? Meaning I don't require these fellows in order to be. Is it not so? They require me for them to be there. I don't need them. I am independent of them. They are dependent upon me. I am independent of them. I have nothing against them. These are all beautiful things given to me, but they become burden because of identification. What should become a great asset has become a liability. Body is nice, beautiful. So Vedanta all the condemns the body. Vedanta doesn't condemn the body. Doesn't condemn anything. Condemns, if anything, ignorance. This also, how can you condemn? Because you have not created it. Nothing is to be condemned. Everything is to be understood. That's all. Dehe ahammati ujjatam. Be always on the lookout for creating a separation or distance between yourself and this body, mind, sense complex. Recognizing that I'm independent of them. The limitations all belong there. Those limitations do not affect me. Aharaha garva parityajyatam says, give up this garva means pride. Always be making a constant effort of giving up pride. Now that's not a value. This pride comes only on account of not taking into account all the variables involved. Pride comes in me because of some accomplishment, something special that I possess. I am proud of my knowledge, proud of my lineage, proud of my strength, proud of my wealth, proud of my position, proud of my name, fame, etc. People can be proud of a variety of things, and we are. This pride also is a very painful thing. It's a big burden to carry. Because a proud person in Sanskrit is mani. Mani means one who is always seeking respect, seeking to be accepted by others, respected by others. I have a very high view of myself. First of all, I have an unduly inflated view about myself. I think I am something. But it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop by saying I am something. I want you to acknowledge that I am something. A proud person is not just happy being what he or she is. There is a need on the part of the proud person to be acknowledged by others that I am great. That is where the problem is. You are great, all right, be happy with it. No. You must acknowledge and you must call me great. Because inside it doesn't feel it's great. The fellows who claim to be great, inside they are not sure at all. And therefore they always throw their weight outside. They dominate others, control others, and want others to praise them. Because he cannot praise himself. Therefore, hara garva parit, give up pride. Pride arises on account of taking credit for my accomplishment. I am an accomplished person, let us say, that I am a wealthy person, I am a famous person, I am a powerful person, a learned person. I may be. But you enjoy that. Nothing wrong in enjoying your wealth and enjoying whatever accomplishments you have, enjoy them. But I don't enjoy them, I enjoy the pride arising from them. How does pride arise? When I take credit for everything, that this is mine, I am a self-made man, Swamiji. This man takes Swamiji to his factory and says, I am a self-made man. Swami says, who made you? You self-made, but who? You made this. Who made you? When could you make all of this, provided you had? Let us say you had some capacities, potential, intelligence, you had, but who gave you all that? Recognize it's a gift. This body is a gift. Given, in words of Swamiji, body given. I have not created. It's given to me. Eyes, ears, organs of perception, given. I don't even know how eyes work. Given to me. Nobody knows, not only I don't think If we totally understand how eyes work and how ears work, how anything works for that matter. Without understanding, still, I enjoy them, I have them. Enjoy them. It's all given to me. Enjoy the gift. Body is given, sense organs are given, mind is given, intellect is given. It's all, and your potential is given, capacity is given. But I worked hard, even that is also given to you. There are people who are your talent, they don't work. Swami, my son is in there, he doesn't do anything. But that's what, that is not given to him. So, meaning that whatever I have is all given to me, including opportunities. To be at the right time, right place at the right time, and the right thought also should occur. Then things happen, otherwise they don't happen. At the right, I can't remember that word. I'm stuck. I can't remember the name of this person. You're stuck. When the right things does not come to you, you are stuck. That it is going on means the words are coming to you. It's all blessing. Don't take credit for them, because then I become proud. If I realize what all factors and contribution is involved in any accomplishment, I realize that my contribution is one of the factors, and there are so many other factors are there which have contributed to bring about a given event or accomplishment. Then I become an humble person. When I take into account all the realities of life, not proud person, an humble person. Buddha janaihi vadah parityajyatam. The last line says, Buddha janaihi, may you completely cease from entering into arguments with wise people. That's an interesting instruction, isn't it? What happens is when we start learning and now I can recite Bhagavad Gita, verses from Upanishad, and I can rattle out and I can quote and I'm something. And the next is to impress other people about my knowledge. You enjoy your knowledge, no, but I have to, as I say, I need recognition from others, so I must impress them. So I engage into discussions and debates with other people to prove that I know more than you. I'm right and you're wrong. And so this kind of things can happen. When we were in Sandipani Sadhana many years ago, then other people also come and spend time there, attend classes, come in. So there was this person from, some place, and he says to me one day, I vanquished them, because they say Shankaracharya vanquished all the opponents. That's how Shankaracharya is thought of. I vanquished that fellow, he says, So somebody came to ashram, maybe he started to, and I vanquished him. He was very proud. So now, this knowledge, which is not knowledge actually, because knowledge can never give you pride, knowledge always makes us humble, but then if pride comes, that means it is not knowledge, it is something, it is some information. Swami will not make you a proud person that you are Brahman. If it makes me proud, means I don't know what Brahman is. Because pride is ignorance. And so if there are impulses in you to engage us in debate, to prove yourself or to prove your superiority, etc., give up all that stuff. Buddha janai vadah parityajyatam. Give up all these debates and arguments with other people. Try to prove themselves wrong or prove yourself right. Don't do that. You don't have to prove yourself right. If somebody genuinely wants to understand something, then you can share your knowledge with them, certainly. But you don't impose yourself upon others and then say, I know he comes from that particular place. And so your teacher says this, and so you are wrong and I'm right. Don't enter into this. Let everybody be happy with what they are thinking. It's not our responsibility to correct the whole world and guide the whole world. Nobody wants to be guided anyway. And you try to guide and they try to guide you. There's always conflict is going on. Then we come to the next verse, where some simple instructions are given in a day-to-day thing for an aspirant, for a sadhaka, or for anybody for that matter. But the following verse specifically applies to now this aspirant or a mumukshu who is living, who has now become a renunciate. Remember, Vividisha sannyasi is living with the teacher. Now he doesn't have any possessions. A sannyasi does not have any possessions. Traditionally. Today I may have my own bank account, all kinds of stuff I may have, but this a sannyasi is, you in fact, it is poverty and chastity. That the Christian priests also have this vow. So sannyasis, poverty and chastity. So Vivekananda used to say that poverty, if you have willingly accepted, is a glory. Otherwise it's a curse. Poverty is a curse, which is what he saw in India everywhere. That's a curse. But if you gladly accepted poverty, that is called renunciation. You gladly accepted a life of non-possession. That means a sannyasi has enough trust that Ishvara will take care of him. And because that person has no possession, and technically speaking, renouncing all duties and actions is renouncing fire. In the Vedic times, those rituals took place with fire. In fire the offerings were made. A brahmachari also performs some fire ritual. Because samidhadanam, a grihastha performs rituals. So when you give up your duties, you give rituals, means you give up fire. So fire in that altar is given up, fire in the kitchen also is given up. And fire of cremation also is given up. No fire. So sannyasi's body is not cremated. It is buried or whatever, disposed of in some way or the other. That's just by the way. But the thing is, so he doesn't have possession, he doesn't cook, he doesn't do anything, then he is totally so dependent upon the society. And therefore the scriptures give him the permission or consent that you can go and beg your food. He is an officially accepted beggar. In Sanskrit, beggar means bhikshu, means a beggar. Bhiksha means begging. So begging is permitted for this one person, for a sannyasi, and for a brahmachari, and for a vanaprastha also. Other than grihastha, begging is permitted to, because they have no resources, they have no source of income. They are totally dependent. See, householder sustains the rest of the society. That was the idea. Household is the fulcrum of the whole universe and sustains rest of the human society, not only his family but all the other needy people like this. And devatas by offering ahutis, pitrus by other offering, rishis by his Vedic chanting, etc. Other human beings by welcoming them as guests and giving them food and shelter, and cows and animals and birds by giving them their food. Therefore, a householder looked upon this as his privilege that somebody comes to my door seeking bhiksha. Very happily they offer. So now to this bhikshu, instruction is given, and to this aspirant now instructions are given in the 4th verse. Let us read that. Kshudvyadischa chakitsyata pratidinam bhikshaushadham bhujyatam swadvannam natu yachyatam vidivashat praptena santushyatam shitoshnadi vishahyatam न तु वृथा वाक्यं समुच्चार्यताम् औदासीन्यमभीप्स्यताम् जनकृपा नैष्ठुर्यमुत्सृज्यताम्. क्षुद् व्याधिश्च चिकित्स्यताम्. Chikitsa means treatment. What a doctor does to the patient is called chikitsa, meaning treating. Apparently, we have incurring disease. What is it? Kshud means hunger. Hunger is recurring disease, which recurs every day. So look upon kshud or hunger as a disease. So disease of the nature of hunger, may you treat it properly. Meaning that do not be indifferent to the needs of your body. That the body should be maintained in reasonably good. Not that you want to become a wrestler. Bodybuilding is not that. But body must be maintained so that you have to listen to the teacher, you have to deliberate, contemplate. So whatever energy is required to do those things, the body should have that requisite energy. Not much more than that. You don't have to wrestle or box and stuff like that or weightlift. That is not necessary. But at the same time, you require a healthy body. You have to perform the daily chores at the same time. A mind that is alert enough. Not only body, the mind is alert enough to be able to listen to the teacher, to reflect upon that, contemplate, meditate. You require an alert mind. So Upanishad explains that the mind also is nourished by the food. The food that we eat, solid food that we eat, it says that the solid part of that food is rejected, excreted. The middle part of the food becomes the flesh, and the subtle part of the food nourishes the mind. Annavayami somya manaha, says Chandogya Upanishad, that says Uddalaka to his son Shvetaketu, that my dear, the mind is made of food. So in English they say, you are what you eat. Because what we eat has bearing upon our mind, our thinking, our personality. So of course we should be very careful about what we eat, no doubt about that. And for these people, the food is categorized sattvic food, rajas food, tamas food in Bhagavad Gita. And as best as we can, at least for this person, restless cannot eat sattvic food. Or even if for in day-to-day activity where it requires a lot of energy, also needs some rajas, no doubt about that. Not all sattva. But this fellow basically has to be a sattvic person. Because his is a life of study and contemplation. In any case, he doesn't cook the food, so it's dependent upon what. So says, Kshudvyadischa chikitsitam, recognize that hunger is a recurring disease which you should treat. But disease must be treated with medicine. So what's the medicine for treating the disease of hunger? Second line says, Bhikshaushadam bhujyatam. Aushadam meaning medicine. So medicine in the form of bhiksha. Bhiksha means the food that you beg from the community. So these sannyasis were permitted to go to community, present themselves before a household and announce, I am here, bhavati bhikshan dehi. O revered mother, please give me bhiksha. So there are some codes of words, there are code words. Narayan Hari. So when you go and announce, then the lady inside knows that here is somebody seeking bhiksha. Bhavati bhikshan dehi, Narayan Hari, Hari Hara, something like. So different people have this different kind of, expressions. But this announces that I am here for bhiksha at your door. Now this itself is difficult. To ask for food is not, to ask for something is not easy. To stretch your hand for somebody to give you something also requires a lot of humility. I would ask, I don't beg. Usually we are quite proud. But here is humble. I know that I need food, and here is one who can give me food, and therefore I gladly accept, or at least ask for it. There is no guarantee that the food will be given just because he asks, meaning that we should be ready for being turned away. Or somebody can tell you, what do you mean, you are a healthy food, why don't you go and buy? All kind of advice also people can give you. You take all that risk when you stretch your hand. And if they don't give you food, no bitterness. Graceful acceptance. Yes, quite all right. And the rule was that you go to 5 houses, not 15. Until you get what you want, you keep on going from one place. That was not so. So there was a limited number of places you go. Madhukari Bhiksha. Madhukara means a honey bee that goes from one flower to the other, takes a little from each flower, doesn't extract everything from the flower, leaves the rest of honey for other bees. So this bhikshuk also, the sannyasi also lives, he takes some from a few places. And bhiksha shadam, this bhiksha or the food you gain by bhiksha is looked upon as aushadam, as medicine. Meaning that you eat food not out of craving. You take food as a medicine for appeasing the disease of hunger. And therefore, next line is Swadvannam natu yacheram. Don't seek for delicious food. Swadvannam. Mataji, I like handwo, so I'll come next Monday. In Gujarat, there is this community called this Nagar. They have some a routine. On Monday they make this, on Tuesday they make this, on Wednesday they make this. So we know what they are making on which day. So depending on what it is that you want to eat, you can reach out on that day to those people. Today is Saturday, so I know that this is going to be there, and Friday this is going to be there. Swadvannam. Meaning that begging or asking for food, let it not be determined or governed by or need for taste. You don't eat medicine for the purpose of taste. Particularly Ayurvedic medicines are never tasty, You take them because you have to take them and you swallow them. And nobody indulges in medicine. That the Ayurvedic physician said it takes 4 tablets a night, 8 tablets. Nobody will do that. You take 2, if 4, if at all. And so nobody indulges. Similarly, food is taken as medicine. No indulgence is there. Just what is necessary for appeasing your hunger. And there are some rules which we cannot, we don't have time to go into. But then they say that one rule is that Puret ashanenardham trutiyam udakena cha vayo sancharanaarthaya chartutam avasheshet. Say that fill up your stomach, half the stomach with solid food, 1/4 the stomach with liquid, and leave 1/4 empty for movement of air for digestion. So this is a general rule. For in sannyasi, the family rule was you take only 8 morsels of food, ashtagrasa, 8 morsels, and things like that. So there are rules which you follow and stay within those boundaries. But Swamiji, this medicine, you just swallow it, and then normally the expressions are very clear on your face that you just dislike what you are swallowing right now. The Ayurvedic medicine is like that usually. So when we are asked to look upon food as a medicine, does it mean that that's how we have to eat it? Says no. Says here that Shuddhyadist, Swadvannam nasuyacha vidivashat praptena santushyata. Whatever you get because of vidhi, because of prarabdha, because of grace of Ishvara, be happy with that. Meaning that you have the freedom to enjoy your food. You don't eat food as a means of enjoyment. You look upon food as a means of appeasing hunger. But while you are consuming that food, respect that food. Honor the food. And of course, a lot of other instructions are given in Taittiriya Upanishad. Annam nat parichakshita, annam indyat. You should never criticize the food. You should never leave the food, waste it. Respect it. Honor it. And enjoy it. Enjoy while you are eating. Meaning there is nothing wrong in enjoying what comes on its own to you. You do not chase an enjoyment. At the same time, if something presents itself to you, certainly life is there for it. So Vedanta does not prohibit enjoying things. Vedanta says don't chase the enjoyment because you will never get it. Chasing the pleasure is like the sun chasing the shadow, You know sun in Surya. You know what is the name of his wife? Consort? It's called Chaya. Chaya Martanda Sambhutam. The verse about Shanishchara, his son, S-O-N, son of S-U-N son, Shani. Chaya Martanda Sambhutam. He is the progeny of Chaya and Martanda means sun. So Chaya is shadow. So the sun is always chasing the shadow. He is looking for shadow. That's why it's going round and round. It can never get it. Can it ever get it? Similarly, also if you chase happiness, you can never get it. If it comes to you, or whatever comes to you, certainly you enjoy. Don't chase enjoyment. Vedanta does not prohibiting enjoying life. It just says don't chase enjoyment. Let it come to you. But it doesn't come, Swamiji. Well, whatever comes, you learn to enjoy. You don't put a value on what is enjoyable. What is it? What comes is enjoyable. Learn how to enjoy what comes to you. Vidivashat praptena santushadam. Santosha means contentment. Let there be contentment in you. Vidivashat, whatever the prarabdha, destiny brings you, or whatever Ishvara brings to you, be content with that. So contentment also is taught as a value. Contentment with what comes on its own. For a sannyasi, not for a householder. Householder thinks nothing will come on its own. Then you have to get them with your right effort. But then be content with the outcome of your effort. Says Shankaracharya elsewhere, Mood jahi dhanagama trishna. Here, mood of, deluded one, you give up the craving for wealth. Doesn't say give up wealth, craving for the wealth. Because craving means I am never satisfied with what I have and with what I get. Kuru sadbuddhim manasi vitrushnam yallabase nija karmopatam vittam tena vinode chittam. Whatever you get by your honest effort, be content with that. So some of these values, now we are not going to go here for bhiksha, etc. But in ashram there is community kitchen. It's something nowadays mostly there are all community kitchens there. Annakshetras are there in India also, and mostly sadhus don't have to go out for bhiksha. Because in Himalayas they had to go to the hills and it took half a day and it was very strenuous for the sadhus. And there was one Baba Kali Kamaliwala. Kamli means a blanket or a shawl. He always used to wear a black shawl. Baba Kali Kamaliwala. So he started as a nakshatra. And then now many nakshatra are there and the sadhus at an appointed time go there and get the bhiksha. Roti and dal. Swami used to say, what do you get in the morning? Roti and dal. What do you get in the evening? Dal and roti. Morning roti and dal, evening dal and roti. In fact, you should go only once, not twice. But then there are some annakshetras which open in the morning, there are some which open in the evening. So you can go here in the morning, go there in the evening. People would do that. But nowadays, many devotees who go to this Haridwar and Rishikesh and very generously offer bhandara and all this annakshetra. So very often you find laddus, all kinds of sweets and things you find. Because people are very generous. So you get spoiled with that. Bhandara. You go to Rishikesh ashram also, bhandara. So invite 100 sadhus, 200 sadhus and offer them feast. It's a pleasure of the grihasthas to do that, and it becomes a burden of the sadhu to have it, because then you look for where is the next bhandara now. And Swami Shuddhanand is very proud, our Swamiji in Rishikesh ashram. Swami Dayananda, everybody wants to come here, Swamiji, because of the food that they get here, So they make sure that the sadhus get delicious food, and so they're attracted at our ashram. They always want to come here. And give them some fat dakshina also. So anyway, things change when the 20th century comes, 21st century comes, naturally everything gets corrupted. But there is the spirit here. Every path is a slippery path. If you don't pay attention, you will slip. So here basic values are given here. We will continue in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Vadarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Some people have expressed that they may have to leave a little early. In case you leave before our Guru Dakshina ceremony, please make sure to collect your Prasad booklet from here also. If in case you are not here until the distribution of this booklet, you please receive yours if you leave earlier.